Welcome back to Pixelated Thoughts Podcast. This is Brad. I'm, for some reason, doing the intro once again, like 3 times in a row now.
Is it? It's like
Yeah.
twice.
Well, the third episode in a row.
He always adds 1 to the number.
Lord.
Yeah, we got to embellish somehow. Got to bump those numbers up,
Really
rookie
don't.
numbers. I'm here with my co-hosts Ken and Josh, and we have a special guest today. Back in my hometown, we have I'm not gonna say a local hero, more of a regional celebrity.
What? Okay.
Ride with it.
Being from a rural Alabama town,
Very hard word to say.
yeah, we there wasn't a lot of I don't know, communities, a lot of kids activities to do, and there was a man named Phil, and he started a comic book store that kind of became the hub of the community for the nerds and outcasts and cool people that didn't know where to go. And his name is Phil, and he is with us here today. If you wanna,
Thanks.
if you wanna do your little introduction for yourself.
Well, I mean, dude, you just did the introduction. I mean, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I'm a local hero, a celebrity. That's
Man's
that's
a
all you need to
god.
know.
Regional, global universe.
My but my intro is similar to basically what you're pitching. I grew up in the deep south, luckily just outside of a military base. So believe it or not, I am from Alabama my whole life, but all my friends were not, so I did not get the accent. But there was nothing to do for comics and gaming, tabletop, you name it. In the late 90s, early 2000s, a local soldier opened a LAN center called Blue Wire, and it like brainwashed me into thinking that was the coolest thing ever, that this guy could open a business and allow people to hang out and play games. And that's, a job. And so when I got a little bit older, I opened Fanatix. I worked in the banking industry for about 10 years. About 5 years into that career, though, me and the wife opened up a comics and game shop called Fanatix just because there was nothing to do. I was driving 3 hours to get Warhammer 40K miniatures. And I was like, there's got to be other people who play these games. So we just opened on a whim, little 800 square feet store, and the rest was history. It kind of grew from there. And I became Fanatix Phil. And yeah, I did that for a solid decade till we all know what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah. I really didn't know about Fanatics. I mean, I grew up in the same town, and it wasn't until I met my wife and I got with her friend group, and they were like all about comics and, miniature tabletop games and whatnot. And that's when I discovered Fanatics. I lived on the west side of town where Fanatics was at, lived literally a quarter mile away, and just never went to it. I knew where it was at.
We didn't have that advertising budget back then,
Yeah.
so we were like, we had to go with that word of mouth, or I'd dress up like Gandalf and go to a movie premiere and wave at people and say, "Come buy comics."
They're like, who's the weird old guy?
Yep.
It's I. Brad, I just want to say a good save on saying like I met my wife, and then you pause like and her friend, and you like group, and I was like, oh, dude, you need to you need to chill.
Yeah, because I've always been a gamer, but I never really got into comics. I never got into, Dungeons and Dragons, any type of tabletop miniature games. I was never the extrovert type of nerd. I didn't do really anything. I didn't play Halo tournaments. I didn't do any type of trading cards, with the exception of collecting them. So, once I found Fanatics, I went fairly frequently. I didn't participate in a lot of the tournaments and stuff, but I always love to go in there and buy something. I now have like 40,000 board games. Because
we tried to appeal to everybody. I mean, we really did carry a range of products. And fun fact, like the store was actually started because the LAN Center, like we started with a small console arcade, and our first launch event was a huge Street Fighter 4 tournament. And so originally it was kind of like this little fighting game club. And then we realized there were other games needing community spots too, and so we branched out. And by the time you guys started coming around, we were doing just about everything. So
The FGC still needs love though, Phil.
Oh, I love the FGC. Man, I just re-downloaded Super Street Fighter 4 Ultra because it was on sale on Steam, and I've been playing that again. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but it's just nostalgic now because we
I mean,
played that one the
I
most.
still, that game's still better than 5. I don't care what anyone says.
I played 5 for like a minute, and then I was like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, it's
Hold-
it's too structured.
Fingers crossed for number 6. Fingers
Yes,
crossed.
6 looks amazing. I'm hoping that
Yes.
they do another beta for it. So Phil, with
So I got
Fnatic...
a-
go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say I got a kind of a two-part question when it comes to opening the store.
Yeah.
What was the toughest thing about that when it comes to starting up your own business and then having a storefront and then getting that going? And then the second part of that is if you were to do something different, what would that be?
Ooh. So the hardest thing for us at first, truly, I'm going to just be candid with you guys. For anyone, it's having the right dollar amount to invest in your inventory. Because, $5,000, $10,000, when it gets thrown at merchandise for a retail store, it gets swallowed by the wall. You're like, wait, I thought we had $10,000 in merch.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest challenge for us. But luckily, because our brand and continued throughout the decade, but our brand was all about community focused. We focused on the event organization. And so, yeah, our merch was kind of like, I'll be honest, the first year we opened, I look back, I'm like, why did anyone come back? But it was because but we were providing like a place to play. We had like 8 gaming setups for fighting game tournaments. We had tons of tables for Magic the Gathering. And so by selling like booster boxes, dice, and like just those snacks and drinks and like slowly growing it, we were able to kind of get over that challenge. But it was pretty rough at first. I remember I read an article like in 2008, and a guy was like, you need $30,000 worth of inventory to open that gaming comic shop. And I was like, that ain't happening, dude. Like I'm going to refinance my
A lot
old
of
truck.
money.
And it was like unimaginable money to us when we started out. And so I refinanced an old pickup truck and opened with about $4,000 in inventory, which is like unheard of. But what we did is we didn't take a paycheck. We just like, if we had a good weekend, we folded it right back in. And we literally grew it from a $4,000 investment to when we closed the store, our inventory was almost $200,000 in inventory.
Wow.
And then, yeah, we went from 800 square feet over a decade to 3 locations, 5,000 square feet in our Dothan store, a coffee shop, and we did a trade show. Like we really did just fold it back in.
Yeah.
But that was the biggest challenge from day one to the last day, was just managing that inventory. And then if I had to do anything different, and I will talk a lot, and you guys ask whatever questions you want, and I'll go off on tangents, and Brad kind of knows this.
That's what we want.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'll be honest, I kind of did everything I wanted to do when I had the store. Like, dude, so Fanatix was like this game and comic shop. It started out as like a video game store with like Magic booster boxes for sale. And then we added a ton of Warhammer 40K products because I played that game too. Then like 2013, we added a full line of just comic book subscriptions, and we ordered directly from Diamond and all that. By 2015, we were like retailing disc golf supplies. In 2017, we added another small business called Rad Giant Skate Supply, and I sold skateboards and skateboard accessories because I grew up skateboarding too.
Nice.
We had this one brand called Board and Table, which was a kind of the comic shop with a board game library. So come in, buy a coffee, grab a game off the shelf, and just play with your friends. And then we started this thing called Fanaticon, where we were just a comic trade show. We did a comic convention for about 7 years. But one thing I always wanted to do more of was publishing, like self-publishing my own comic books or other people's comics, and then designing and selling tabletop games. I got to do it like 3 times. Me and a good artist friend did kickstart a tabletop game. It's kind of like a family. Oh, nice. Look at you, man.
I bought a lot of coffee from there.
So we did publish a few games and comics, but the store always was king. We had to keep the store going because if the store died, that was like the foundation of all these side projects. And so I never really got to publish as much stuff as I wanted to. So now that I don't have the store, and again, there's a lot of in between that we got to fill in for anybody curious, but now that we don't have the store, that's kind of what resurrected the brand Fanatix. We're trying to, instead of selling it, retailing comics and games, we want to just make our own, work with artists, work with designers, and kind of put out some tabletop products along
Can you
the
share
way.
any projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. The premier project, like the big one, is this tabletop TCG. So it's in the vein of games like Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's called Hierophant. And the designer, me and him were working on this game in 2018 when the store was active, and we were streaming in the store and like playtesting with customers. But the timing just wasn't right. Like I had 2 locations at the time that I was both managing, and we just you can't serve 2 masters. Like I was like the stores needed my attention, the game needed my attention, so we had to shelve it. Then he called me up like randomly about 6 months ago and was like, "Do you ever think about that game we were working on?" I'm like, "All the time." And so we kind of just resurrected that. But we've made a lot more progress on it now, so it's like full steam ahead. So if you search at Hierophant Game, we just launched social like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
So that's the number one big project is Hierophant TCG. It's going to be a full on like collectible trading card game. Right now we're talking to artists, trying to get the artwork going, and then the other project is doing some tabletop stuff like for Dungeons and Dragons. A magazine called Ins and Outs, which will just let people submit their own adventure modules, character write-ups, fun stories, artwork, whatever they want, and then we want to publish that into like a annual volume or something and put it out for everybody.
Look at
Nice.
that, Brad. Huh?
Eh,
That could be you.
For
So
sure,
with
it's
the,
for yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. For the comic side that you
yeah.
want to start publishing, you're working
Yes.
with artists. How do you go about finding the artists, and are you writing the comic story?
Yeah, I'm an English major right now. I've always been an English major, but I'm just now trying to finish it since again, like I guess I'm trying to take advantage of all this like crazy life stuff. Like when COVID hit, we had to close the store and I was like, man, like what am I going to do? So I tried to go back to my day job and work at my old banking job, it's a great job, but after doing the store for 10 years, it just wasn't happening for me. It was like really tough. So now that I had to move back home for some family reasons, and I was like, well, if I'm going back home, we're gonna tie up all these loose ends. So I'm finishing school. I'm in my senior term now, and the comic. So I've always written comic scripts. I've got a couple that we're searching for artists for. The best way to find artists really is I like to just look on Instagram, believe it or not, because like I find that some of the most active comics on social media, they have really good work ethics. Like if they're promoting their self and their brand and their work, you really get to know them by the content they put out. Sometimes that's a bad thing though, because when you find the good ones, they're like always busy and booked up. But I just like to kind of get to know them on social media before reaching out to them on email. But you can look at other places too, like ArtStation or Behance, the Adobe network.
Right.
I'm blessed with like I owned a shop for 10 years. So I went to like, probably 50 plus trade shows throughout that decade. And I just got to know a lot of people. So I have some people I can reach out to. But yeah, those social media is a great place to meet artists and
It
stuff.
is.
Nice.
Yep.
What was it like for you to, first kick off your own trade show? Like, how stressful was that? Like, walk us through that process.
So Fanatix did a couple of, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but like I was a nerd in the South and like it sucked growing up in Alabama. You know what I mean? And so
We know, Brad.
I just, I always wanted to do cool stuff. So we were actually the first store to host a Riot sanctioned tournament for League of Legends in 2012. And it was like sanctioned by Riot. We gave out the Rise skin. If you remember when you used to win a local League of Legends tournament, you got this custom skin. Anyways, so I was always trying to look out these unique tournaments we could run for people. Also, a kid made a hot pocket in the microwave and tripped the breakers during like round 2, and we had to restart the match. And it was sweaty in there too. It was like really competitive. You know how League of Legends goes. You had to have 3 people in the store playing, and you could have 2 friends play online with your team. And the guy tripped the breaker, and we were like, oh man. Learning the hard lessons in esports right there. So running the trade show though was kind of the same thing. I was trying to find new events to run to kind of push the envelope for Alabama. So we were again one of like the first Pro Tour qualifiers for Magic the Gathering in Dothan, and probably the Southeast. I think Montgomery had some back in those days. So back in the day, Pro Tour qualifiers was the only way for a Magic player to get their ticket to go to the big show. And so we hosted one of those, had about 100 Magic players come, and I was like, man, if we're gonna have 100 Magic players, let's go ahead and rent a hotel and like blow this thing out of the water. Let's set up a vendor area, do artist alley, and just do like a mini convention. So we printed 200 tickets for this thing called Fanaticon, and 500 people came through the door, and we were like, uh-oh, something's going on here. So that was the first Fanaticon. So we actually didn't mean for it to be stressful. It was only supposed to be like, a couple hundred people, rent out a local ballroom, have some fun, have some local artists. So the first year we had 500 people. Year 2, we moved to like a local city. And we booked Johnny Young Bosch, the Black Power Ranger, and got a couple zombies from The Walking Dead. And we had about 900 people come that year. And so every year we kind of just kept just like the store. We would keep folding the money back into it and going from there. And then the last show, that's the one from 2017. That year, I believe Ian Sinclair, voice of Space Dandy, came. Courtney Taylor from Mass Effect, if you know her.
Love Space Dandy. That's a
so-
great
he was hilarious. And that might have been 2015, but 2017, Courtney Taylor. Oh,
Yeah.
and
I did meet Courtney there. Yeah.
what was the other guy? Jason Marsden, Max from the Goofy movie came. So we had fun with Fanaticon. It was extremely stressful, but again, the store, luckily, you had all these things in place already to help it happen. You know, it was a game and comic shop already, so we kind of just ran with it, man. Had a good time. Our last year was 2019, just a couple months before the shutdowns, and we had 2,100 people come. We had Phil Lamar, the voice of Naruto, Miley Flanagan, voice of Squidward was there, Roger
Damn.
Bumpus, Space
Nice.
Ghost was there, Jim Ross from WWE was there. I mean, we had a huge show.
Good old Jim Ross. Good old JR.
Oh man, driving JR around in a golf cart on a Sunday morning was probably like the highlight of my life. Honestly, I love JR.
Awesome.
But we had just rebranded. We paid for like all these new logos, and we had just launched this. We rented a huge civic center. We were like, okay, but this is the long haul. You know, we're playing the long game.
Yeah.
And then, man, that was the last year we did it. It was.
Oh, no.
It sucks.
I mean,
But,
it's insanely impressive because you know, I mean, your first show, you know, you're expecting, you know, a small turnout, and you had all the Alabama nerds show up.
Luckily, no complaint. I know at one point the Magic players were like, "What are you doing? Like, we can't even play this tournament. There's too many people in here." We had the Ghostbusters club show up, and they were like playing their theme song. The walls were shaking from the bass, and in like one room over, you had all these Magic players competitively trying to win their
Upset.
invite, you know, to
Upset.
Spain.
Yeah.
It was a good time though. Good lessons to learn that way, you know.
Nice.
So how'd you get the different we can call them celebrities and the
Yeah.
actors and voices? How'd you get them to come out?
You just work with their agents. Like
Okay.
I would a lot of people, I'm pretty, it's big for streamers now too. Like content creators are honestly bigger than some of the traditional celebrities. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Like, you guys know that hilarious guy Pros D on YouTube?
Yeah.
He makes like just, oh,
Yeah,
he's so funny.
Song one show.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love this guy.
love him, dude.
I tried to book him, and I won't say any numbers, but he was harder to get than some of like voices of like notable anime characters. So
Insane.
content creators are doing really well in that realm. So there's a lot of agencies out there, and you just have to kind of find a couple good ones, and they, you know, go through
Build
their
like a
network.
rapport with them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they go through their network, and then you book the show, you buy plane tickets. It is hard, but it's really not as bad as you think, because you're nervous at first. Like at first we were nervous, you know, we're asking people we like, you know, obviously it's
Yeah.
our show, so we don't want to invite somebody we don't know who they are. So when we were working with Johnny Bosch, like the Power Ranger from my childhood and voice of Kaneda
Bash
from
the
Akira and
Stampede, man.
Bash.
That's
Yeah, we were like, I remember it was just like he called me on the cell phone and he was like, "Hey man, I'm at the airport, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, you know, we had to be professional, but it was really hard. I was like, dude, yeah, so
Fangirling all over the place.
yeah. So like you kind of just build up this reputation, you know, take care of your celebrities, make sure they get fed and paid, and
Yeah.
and then it keeps going and going and going. So yeah. We kind of got into that. Speaking of Jim Ross, like that was one of the other last projects we launched too, was Fanatix Wrestling Federation. We booked live pro wrestling.
No
Oh, no.
way, dude. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you got to go to that show in 2019. You might have already been down away from town, but yeah. So we actually, I don't know if you guys watch like AEW, but they have they have a funny guy on there named Serpentico, and he is like just a comic relief character. We booked him for our show. Like he came and wrestled in Dothan, and then like a year later he's on TV and like his career's taken off. So I love to see that. So
That's awesome.
it's we've got to do a lot of silly stuff. So it's been a good time.
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
Brad, what do you
So
got?
have with it, have you thought about a comeback?
Oh yeah. Like, so here's the game plan. Like phase 1 is, well, like I said, I'm back in Dothan.
World domination.
No,
Phase 2,
I don't-
silence. Phase 3, profit.
no. And I'll be honest though, like our goal, like me and my wife is a big partner of mine. You know, she's a hard worker. She's very much more introverted than I am though. I'm the talker. She's the quiet, like help you get stuff done person.
Oh, she's the shadow
But-
financier and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh no, financier. I wish, like, if you got money hiding, honey, please let me know. But so again, like Fanatix is kind of priority 1. I want to relaunch the brand, get a couple of these little grassroots projects off the ground, a couple publishing products, have some physical merch that I could take to conventions and start promoting again.
Nice.
And once that's kind of established, we may talk about doing like the trade show again, bringing back the wrestling. But it's that stuff takes so much time and
yeah.
energy that like if I try to do Fanaticon again and I don't finish my comic book, I'm gonna be sad. Like you got to prioritize your own dreams, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of lucky that I get to go to school right now because I can double up choose some of my writing assignments to also be like work on my comic book. And then I'm trying to stream more. I'm trying to get into that. I've always loved video games. I mean, I uploaded, this will date me a little bit, but I uploaded like a Counter-Strike Go video on MySpace using like Fraps to record it. And I remember like nobody commented on it though. I was avoiding homework. This is like 2005, I think, maybe 06. And I remember thinking like, this is dumb. Delete. And now it's like there's entire cultures built around us showing people our gameplay. And I'm like, why did I not just keep trying? You know?
That is like,
But
I don't think anyone honestly at our age really thought that,
no.
streaming would take off the way it did. We
No.
thought, because you look at like the early days of YouTube, it was just like really funny, small, stupid videos,
Yep.
like Flash videos. You went on
A
like
Vine.
Newgrounds, right?
Newgrounds. Oh man,
And
good
then,
times.
And then somehow we're like, what did we do? Now I couldn't stream because I was in the Navy. There was no way I'd get in trouble. But somehow everyone's on TikTok and shit like that now. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? I couldn't do that when I was in. But
it's wild, man. I wish I would have known because I loved making videos in
same.
Fraps. Like I loved it. I remember downloading like World of Warcraft videos on their warcraftvideo.com site or whatever it was, like pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
I still have a hard drive with like 20 of those old PvP montages. Those are my favorite to watch.
Nice.
And I remember trying to make them, but then thinking like, what do you do it? Like, I'm not good enough to upload it here. If I could have just, if that arc of my life wouldn't have happened for like maybe another 2 years and YouTube existed, I might have been able to do that, you know? But so wild. I'm a little salty about it, you know? What is the saying? Born too soon to be a TikTok star? I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to butcher it. But either way, yeah, we had a weird childhood because it's like we loved all this stuff, but we just didn't think people would pay us attention.
We didn't necessarily miss the curve, but we had the opportunity to get ahead of it too.
Right.
I mean, just traditional work and stuff like that, right? But it's
that's kind of, that's kind of the lesson though, right? This is a podcast. People are listening. They got to get some value out of it. That's kind of the lesson. If you like something, do it because it doesn't, because like quit trying to guess what people are going to be into. Yeah. You have to do what you like. And then if society's not into it at the time, you'll be more fulfilled doing something that you liked though. So, obviously making like paper comics is not necessarily the cutting edge trend of that, but that's what I want to do. And that's what I'm going to stick to. And I think that's going to be my best work,
Nice.
Oh yeah. And if people see that you love what you're doing, they like to gravitate towards that. It's, people like to feel good seeing other people feel good.
Right. Being honest, that's like social media 101, right? Like being honest with your follow, like you have to just be yourself. You cannot fake it. People know in a heartbeat.
And then there's
Jack,
Willie
say that
Jim.
again. They want to be what? They want to feel good about people feeling good.
I mean, hey,
what content are you watching, brother?
It's a time.
What's going on here? What's up?
The good vibe thing, man.
No, I mean, I think we probably discussed this multiple times. Is that when me and Brad started doing this, I think the content was just like we were just doing it to do it because we wanted to. And then I think when we added Josh, we were like, eventually we'll get on YouTube. And then we started last month, and I was like, eventually I'll just start, putting out videos about stuff that I've always wanted to make content about. I mean, we've had good responses to the most of it, but it's mostly like I don't want to, and we talked about this two shows ago. We don't want to shoehorn ourselves into anything because it doesn't feel good,
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I don't want to shoehorn myself into making like strictly like walkthrough tutorials or videos about like horror games and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, because I see how some content creators just get like so stressed out because sometimes that well runs dry. Like once you become a very niche content creator, it's just
it's tough.
Yeah,
same thing happens in game design and like comic design. It's like you try to stick to a particular genre because that's what you think is going to be in demand, but then you're stuck now doing that and you're like, but I got these other ideas. So I'm trying to keep Fanatix very eclectic. Like we're going to publish tabletop stuff, trading card stuff, comic books, chat books, like fun stuff. Like we're going to do all kinds of wacky stuff and, just have fun doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, I just think it's so I wanted you to talk about that coffee store that Brad that Brad visited.
Love to.
Yeah, tell me about how that started. Brad told me that it was a crowdsourcing initiative. So tell me how that worked. Where'd you guys go? Indiegogo,
Kickstarter.
Nice.
I've used Kickstarter. I've had 5 campaigns, and Fanaticon started with a Kickstarter, a small one. We had a goal of like $1,000 to help pay for some plane tickets. Raise the money, and so I kept going back to Kickstarter when the time was right. Though the dirty secret about Kickstarter is just like social media, like if you don't have a good story, a good narrative for what you're raising money for,
Yeah.
Right.
people aren't going to back it. Like if you like so like we learned that lesson through Fanatix. We tried to kickstart some custom t-shirts one time, and people were like, no, dude, I'm not backing your custom t-shirts. We still hit our goal barely, but the point was like, we're a giant store, like pay for your own t-shirts. We weren't offering anything new to people. You know what I'm saying? The coffee shop though, the concept there was we had grown the store to like 5,000 square feet, wanted people to hang around a little bit longer, be more comfortable. So we developed a back room for Magic tournaments and Pokemon tournaments. And that's where our fighting game tournaments were at the time. And then the front room was more like this mom and pop coffee shop cafe, a little bit more casual, user friendly. And so in the corner, I studied coffee for like 3 months, like just all the time, all day long, and then bought the equipment and priced the equipment.
Yeah.
And then did a Kickstarter and was like, hey, here's the concept. We're going to be giving you guys more value for your space. You can get a mug, get a t-shirt. You can get a lifetime discount. Yep, you can get dice, custom dice.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
And so we offer people like, fun collectible rewards with a guarantee that they're going to be upgrading. You're investing in your space. So we raised about $9,000 and spent all of it and plus another 11 grand on getting coffee equipment and just made coffee, man. Like it was wild. I was barista for like 3 years doing that. And
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it supposed to have noodles as well?
we
I
did
wanna say
ramen.
no.
Yep, we did ramen for the
Nice.
first week, and then had to end up chopping it from the menu because it made the store smell so much like ramen. We didn't raise enough money to get like the ventilation hood for the restaurant part of it, so we had to go to just paninis and coffee. But yeah, we did do ramen for 1 week, and I get asked about
in Alabama.
People loved it too. We sold a lot of ramen. It's crazy though because people still ask me about the ramen like to this day, and we only did it for a week, so
It's time to do.
we were onto something. But
an anime
well.
ramen shop in Alabama. I want
that's
Brad
me,
there
dude.
first day.
That's the other thing. Talk about salty old men. Like I got made fun of in high school for liking anime. Oh, that's that girly stuff. Oh, it's so silly. But now it's like,
Widely accepted.
We talked
Widely accepted.
about that.
Yeah, we did mention. Yeah, we talked
They have
about
like
that.
Naruto t-shirts for sale at like the gas station. Like what? Like what's going on here? But yeah.
You had to go to JCPenney and get the Dragon Ball Z shirt, the Goku shirt, like and walk out with your
Might
head.
find one at Journeys, at the mall.
You can now see anime printed on gym clothes.
I know. Like, what is this? What world am
Some
I
of it
living in?
looks so fucking dope. Like I might get caught up buying some workout sweats.
Yeah, we got kind of made fun of for our first location because I carried anime merch and I didn't have enough money. Like it was like $800 worth of stuff, and it just was like it got swallowed by the store, and I was like, oh man, this looks bad. But oh well, we tried. I mean, no one else was trying, so it is what it is.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good thing that you were branching out in relatively in an area that I assume that was like, obviously, I would say the South is more about football, more about sports, right? If that's like,
all about it.
It's a religion down there. I know. I used to live in Santa Fe, Texas. But so you're essentially, I mean, you have all this work that you're doing, right? You're progressing. Like, is there anything right now that like do you have any regrets from like the past, like for Fanatix? Like, do you think like, we should have went here, we should have like leaned in hard into something, or is it like we did everything we could? And,
The most recent regret is just the like throwing in the towel during COVID. Like honestly, and I mean, I kind of had a feeling that what happened was going to happen. Like people were kind of retreating to hobbies of old. People were by themselves, and I saw the writing on the wall. I knew disc golf was going to pop off, and so like after we closed, trading card games, disc golf, skateboarding, board gaming, D&D, all of it kind of exploded. And if we would have hung in there for like maybe 3 months, we could have been okay. But live and learn, it's like I didn't want to drag my feet. I wanted to make a call and work towards the call. So the call was like, well, if they're going to shut us down for 30 days is like a lifetime when you have to sell things off your store to make money. And then the other option was like pivot and go online. So I've definitely missed out some opportunity there, but I was a staunch believer in like going all in on your unique value proposition, which for me was local community access to products that they love. And so we put everything into the physical store, not doing online business. Should have done that, obviously. It sounds like an easy decision for most people, but again, when you're in the mix and you have like 2 locations, and they're both kind of like always doing tournaments every, it just didn't seem like it was necessary. So yeah, a couple regrets not moving in online fast enough.
Okay.
Prior to that, I mean, I tried to do everything I wanted to do, so not too many regrets.
Yeah, I was
Maybe not doing it sooner.
I was kind of surprised you spoke about like essentially just having brick and mortar stores. I assumed like there would be like some type of online component, to kind of supplant certain sales and stuff like that. But
These days, most stores do 100%, especially with TCGplayer.com. They sell their singles online.
right.
We just didn't want to do that. It just wasn't our thing. Like, we literally wanted to provide you physical face-to-face store, and we were doing so well with it that, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
It's just
I think that speaks to the community that you tried to create, because if I'm not mistaken, you had like volunteer submissions that, if there was something that someone
Right.
wanted to provide for the community, you could fill out and see if Fanatix would facilitate whatever it is that you wanted to, whether it be like, I don't know
Yeah.
what became of that. I think I did fill out one for PCs, for like building PCs, or
Yep.
doing like a technology type thing. But
Right.
I would say Fanatix was special in that regard. That once again, there was nothing in a 100-mile radius.
I looked up notes and I was like, where is this place? How come I've never heard of it?
Now, so here's the thing though, talking about that closing the store up too early. So now in our bubble, in our Wiregrass, there's now, I closed when we were the only 2 stores. Now there's 6. And there's a new skate shop. There's like 3 disc golf shops now. They've built a disc golf. So like, we closed and it just like filled right back up. So even if I wanted to open the physical store back, I wouldn't do that, because like the market's just, the 2 game stores are doing a great job, and there's no need to step on their toes, so I'm kind of linking up with them and just trying to promote my new publishing stuff with them. Like, hey, put this on your shelf when it comes out. So
Nice.
Live and learn.
How far along is Hierophant?
We are, I mean, for us, we are in like, I'd call it an alpha stage. Like, we play the game every week and multiple times a week, and we don't have like licensed artwork yet though. So we're not quite ready to show anything. But as far as development goes, like we're playtesting every week, and we play on Tabletop Simulator. We build out the stuff there. And yeah, like right now we're kind of in art and development stages. Nice. So hopefully by maybe, I don't want to put anything on timelines, but hopefully by like summer, technically it's in April is when we want to do it. We'll have like tabletop sim mods people can download and play the game on their computer if they want to try, and then probably print and play stuff for local people. To start getting like real feedback.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Was it going to be physical? It's going to be online?
It is physical to start. My designer, Tyler Lindsay, really talented dude, like really good at teamfight tactics too. He's a big online player of strategy, like tactical games. So he, we're not going to say it won't ever be like a computer game, because like we're going to leave our options open, but it is being designed like tabletop first. So it is definitely like a game for the tabletop. But I've got some friends that like work in Unity, and like, I don't know, never say never, man. I've seen some indie games, same thing, right? Like developing an indie game, you think, oh, I can't ever do that. That's fairy tale stuff. But then you see these teams of 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Games.
Well, I mean, the tools are out there, right? Did you guys see the new trailer for the Unreal Engine 5 for Fortnite and stuff like that?
Oh man,
that shit.
I saw the demo they did with the iPhone.
Yeah, no, it was not. I was pretty stunned, because I felt like the leap from Unreal Engine 3 to 4 was like kind of nominal. Like it was there. It was a nice little jump, but like 5 feels like it's a substantial effort to, bring something like, because when you want to buy a console, you buy like an upgraded GPU, you're expecting something, like a big jump in graphics, and now you're gonna see it. I mean, you're putting like Fortnite characters in like some random, Eastern Asian fantasy with a dragon, and that dragon is hyper detailed. I was like, what is this shit? This isn't Fortnite anymore, man. What is going on? But yeah, I mean, the tools are there. So I do have a question about the comic. So
yeah,
how far along are you in writing your comic? Seeing how you're doing, you're jumping between classes and stuff like that. Creative writing, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, creative writing. And we have to submit like a short story just about every week, and then two really long short stories twice during the term. So last term, I used one of the short story assignments to finish the first character arc of an action adventure comic we're writing called Metal Kid, which is like Lord of the Rings meets Tenacious D. Story about like a small town rural teenager who like gets wrapped up in like black metal versus the good guys, if you will. So it's really ridiculous, but I finished that first arc. I've got a couple other comics. One of the comics is called Wirewolves. It's about a hacktivist gang of werewolves, and they're kind of like fighting. It's like I like to say it's Underworld meets Mr. Robot, and so that's actually part of the universe that the card game's from. It's like a post cyberpunk universe, high technology, high fantasy, really nerdy stuff. If you're a fan of like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, the art styles of like Valorant, that hand drawn, kind of hand painted manga style, that's what we're going for. That aesthetic. So that Wirewolves is done. The first issue is done, but that's actually like a later project because we were developing a world book first for the tabletop game. But so the comic book Metal Kid's good to go. We've got another property called From the Diary of Saray Rento, and that's kind of like a it's a first person narrative told through the eyes of like a found journal. So like it's kind of like post apocalyptic, very much like in the vein of Fallout. And the comic book is told in like your perspective, like you're the one looking at this journal you found, but it's intermixed with like third person narration pages. But then every couple pages, there's like this first person journal that you're reading. So you learn about this dude, and then you're reading the action of like other things going on in the world. And at some point, those two storylines collide, and you meet this guy of the diary you've been reading. So that, we've got a couple ideas in the oven, but I can't, like, again, school's kind of taking up all my time. So like right now I'm just searching for artists, trying to get artists lined up so that when it's ready to go, we have people on deck to draw it. That's going to be a lot of time and money.
I may have a artist that I can link you up with.
Dude, send me links.
Busy he is, but he's the guy that did my art for my logos.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely want to talk to some graphic designers too, because right now I'm doing like all the graphic design myself. I dabble in the old Photoshops and Adobe Suite, which is another thing that makes me salty because like I was watching a friend's game development stream and they're working on a small MMO, and like a lot of the textures and stuff are painted in Photoshop, and I'm like, if I had known that, like I might have tried to work on that. But so right now we're doing it all ourselves, the graphic design anyways, and then we'd love to run it through a pros filter, get the final sheen put on it. Nice. But that's the comic. I mean, there's more than two, but I'm trying to dial it back to just a couple so I don't like get too crazy with it.
Yeah, I heard Metal Kid and I was like, Mega Man?
No, Astro Boy. What are you talking about? Astro Boy.
Astro Boy.
So like, here's the fun thing about Metal Kid though, is we had a customer at our store. And I've cleared it with him. We've talked about having a kind of like a partnership agreement, and like, a lot of comic books say this is not based on anybody real or anything like that. I'm like, no, screw that. Like we're gonna get some paperwork signed, and we're gonna just let people know like you inspired this comic book. But I was like, what if like it's a superhero origin story? Like what if a metal kid, like a metalhead, actually gets the power to turn into like solid metal and fight bad guys? I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
Nice. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not huge into comics. I have dabbled in some arcs that I just found interesting. And trading cards were never really my thing. I did get into Yu-Gi-Oh for a little bit, but I realized I was really bad at it. Or
that game's hard. That game's just hard.
Or the people I was playing were just just sweaty compared to me just trying to play for fun.
That's the nature of the beast for trading cards. You gotta just suffer the first couple months.
Well, and then there was, and then the magic was just expensive for me. It was just like,
oh yeah.
I have a friend, Scott. I'm sure Scott, but he would buy the full boxes of a new release of cards, and he was like, hey, let's set up a tournament at my house. So I would go to his house and open up 10 booster packs and try to make a deck out of his cards, and then I would play, and I was like, oh, that was really fun. And then I'd give him his cards back because I didn't have $400 for the 10 booster packs. Well, and then he was big into wasn't Warhammer.
War Machine.
War Machine, yeah, War Machine, and I'm like, once again, I don't have $2,000 to buy miniatures, and then I don't have another 400 hours to paint every miniature. I was like, good lord. But the one thing you don't need a lot of money for is tabletop RPGs. You know, D&D,
That's right.
Pathfinder.
Balling on a budget.
That's the one that when I fell for that one, I fell hard. And it wasn't until I met my wife and her friend group that I got into D&D. So I've only been in it for 10 years now. But I don't think this is actually something we've talked about on the podcast itself, but we've tried to keep it video game related. But you know, Dungeons & Dragons is huge.
Yeah.
I really enjoy all the lore. I enjoy the world building. When I became a DM, that's a blessing and a curse, because once you DM, you never play again.
Yeah.
You just actively
You become the host. You're the server.
Yeah. Which and once again, I might enjoy designing something, because the second, so I did run one campaign out of a book. It was Tomb of Annihilation. Really gritty, dark, a rough one. And I was like, you know what? I want to create my own. So, you know, I was doing overnights at my job at the time. So I'll just bring a notebook into the workspace, and I'd literally just write notes. And I wrote like 15 pages of just world building stuff. And I thought it was great. And then I had a nicer notebook, and then I would rewrite all of my notes in better grammatical. That's the right word. Better grammatic formation. And try to tie things better, make it sound better. And then I would type it out in my computer. And then, you know, I finally found a program that I liked to use. We were using Roll20, and it was, it's a good program, but it's very generic. It's just a tabletop thing. And then I finally settled on Fantasy Grounds. They have a lot of, yeah. And, you know, I created all my stuff in there, and we ran that campaign for 2 years. I have yet to have a campaign go over level 7 before either everyone dies or we just stop playing. So I am interested in the tabletop stuff that that you hopefully produce one day. Is there any first party content or third party content that you're working on for that, or just looking for submissions?
It'll be submissions. It'll be ran like a literary journal where authors and artists will submit their work, and then if selected, you get compensated and gets included in this anthology. And we'll do it like on a either biannual or maybe a quarterly basis, depends on how many submissions we get. And then, you know, it'll get published from there, and then people can read your stuff and kind of put it in their game if they want to. And that's the whole idea, make it a community building aspect. And it's called Ins and Outs, and hopefully I've got 3 pieces of art done for that one from a very talented artist, the guy who drew your shirt, you know, Mo Ballinger. So he's going to help me with that later this year too. And then we've got another artist that I'm working with. And so keep your eyes out for that one, dude, because it'll have like a submission link, and you can, here's an adventure I written for levels 1 through 7, and then we'll see what we can do.
Nice.
I like Brad nerding out. It's always fun.
Every
time, when we brought on guests for Brad that he brings on, he's always like the most like well-behaved, chipper person. When it's like anyone else in a conversation, he's such a dick, you know.
Why do you think I'm usually a dragon? So I can make faces and do the shenanigans.
I'm happy to talk about tabletop stuff, but like I got a little jelly looking at the questions for somebody who was asking questions about World of Warcraft, and I'm like, now hold on, am I gonna get asked? That was my jam, you know. I love me some WoW.
What was your favorite expansion?
Wrath of the Lich King.
That was a great one.
That's like
probably my favorite.
That's all I get told. Like that's like everyone's favorite expansion.
It's one of the best.
It was like the expansion, the nostalgia finally died. You know what I mean? It's like we got to Northrend, and then, I mean, it could have stopped right there for all I'm concerned. But I mean, I loved vanilla too, and I know it's
what about the pandas though. The pandas.
I mean, I wasn't like a super complaining player. You know, it made my wife play more. So hey, let's go.
Yeah.
I never really play. I played for 3 months. So on my dad's account, I never even had an account.
I got so hooked on WoW. It was a bad problem because I got into computer gaming at that game store, you know, in 2000. Well, I mean, I started playing computer games like way early, like 94. We had a computer that could run Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, and then didn't really play games much, and we had Doom and all that, but then it kind of took a break. Then Warcraft 2 at the local military DYA center, we got to play there. But it wasn't until like 2000 or 2001, and Warcraft 3: Reign of Chaos came out at the LAN Center, and it was awesome. So I became a huge Warcraft fanatic, and when WoW came out, it was like, oh yeah, we're buying a computer, we're getting into this hobby, and next thing you know, girlfriend's breaking up with me, falling asleep on the job. It was
It
bad.
happens, man.
Wow,
Trying to
won't
get
leave
that-
you.
Trying to get that rank 14 warlord never happened though.
Takes
Highest
over
I-
your
Warcraft
life.
never leaves you.
Yep.
I started with games like that. I started with Guild Wars first. I
Oh
got
yeah.
sucked into that for a while. Played Terra, and then I actually didn't play World of Warcraft until maybe 5 years ago,
Wow.
and then I got sucked into that for a long time.
Crazy how it just keeps going trucking. Like people, it's just solid game design.
Oh, it's
And
yeah.
I know people have their qualms with Blizzard, the company, but a lot of my inspiration comes from the way like Chris Metzen and all those guys designed Warcraft growing up. I mean, like they lived the dream, guys. Like they went from like, oh yeah, these are our childhood D&D characters, and like, oh yeah, Thrall, yeah, he's big box character now. You know what I'm saying? Like they lived the dream. So I hate that it kind of loses that charm now that they're this megalith company, but
That's essentially how it goes, right? You know,
it's how it always
You
goes.
live long enough to see yourself become the villain. You're too big
Yep.
to fail. People then start to hate you, even though they should love you, right? It's like, what else do you want? Don't you have phones?
Don't you have cell phones?
Don't you guys have
So
Did
another two questions here. So if and when this con comes back, right?
Yep.
Who would you love to bring on?
Well, it's funny because in 2015,
Jekyll and
What-
Cruel.
oh, I
Brad.
mean, yeah,
Brad.
do something. There's a little guy, got a little bit of a following now, named Matt Mercer, pretty famous DM.
Oh yeah.
May have heard of Critical Role. We were actually
Oh,
trying to book him like before, like it was like 2016, and
Yeah.
then it never happened. So I'd love to get some of those guys on there, which now it may be even impossible to do.
Yeah, they have a huge
Yeah.
following.
His voice acting ruins video games for me now. Like solely because when I hear his voice, it's just like that's Matt Mercer, and it's like I don't care how good the character is. That's just Matt Mercer for me now.
But that's how anime is, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially for dubbed and all that.
Yep.
It's the same actors and actresses playing the voices.
I mean, they're
Steve
good what they do,
Bloom.
man.
Steve Bloom was always like we talked to Steve Bloom a lot, voice of Spike Spiegel, Cowboy Bebop, and many
Wolverine.
others. Yeah, Wolverine. But we never got that to line up. So he's still on the list for the old school anime fans. And then, man, I haven't thought about it in a while though because of just everything. So
Yeah.
we had a number of people that we wanted to get. What we try to do too is try to build the guest roster around like a theme too. So it's kind of like you're not just seeing one person and it's done. Like maybe get some adjacent people, like voice of Ash from Pokemon, and then a couple other characters from Pokemon. But yeah, we haven't really thought about it in a while. I'd love to
Yeah.
get some more
So-
wrestling stars too.
Right.
So
So if money and time wasn't a thing, your first pick would probably be Mercer.
oh, for sure. Because like think about what he encompasses, like the world of video games, the world of tabletop. He is like for Fanatix of 2019 when we were doing it. He was like the guest to have, right? Because he encompasses both. He just pulls it all together.
Very nice.
Definitely.
You had a second question, Jack?
The other one was if you were to pick like
Uh-oh.
if yes was always going to be an answer,
Uh-huh.
like what artist would you want to work with? What or
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, like the 90s kid in me is like, oh, can we think of a book that Jim Lee can draw? But
Oh, there you go.
you know what I'm saying? Like to get him to draw like Metal Kid, but that's dreaming. Gosh.
What's
That's a
okay to
tou-
dream, man?
Yeah. So it might be one of those guys, like a Todd McFarlane name or one of the
McFarlane would be badass.
Yeah, one of those 90s guys who really embedded in our brains what cool. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm assuming we're probably around the same
Bro,
genre.
same age.
So like
I mean, Jack's
when
very old.
Spawn and it's yeah, so it's probably like a McFarlane or
yeah.
Lee. Yeah, that would be sick. But
Speaking
Tom
of Spawn,
McFarlane,
I saw an article that McFarlane commented that the Spawn remake for a movie is
cool.
much closer to being a real thing.
I thought it was already underway. Was that
They've talked about it, but it's been such slow movement with it.
You guys
I
ever
don't
see
know if it was a money
have you
thing.
ever seen any of the fan made shorts on YouTube?
No, but I've seen the HBO
Some of those
animated
are
series.
fucking amazing, dude. I was a huge fan of, like, there's one where it's like in a convenience store and there's like a thief that walks in and Spawn shows up behind him, and I was like, holy shit, like this is really good CG for I think like an 8 to 12 minute short. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought
Kids are
Spawn-
grinding out there, man.
Oh,
They're-
dude,
yeah.
some of the
the-
YouTube content is great.
The fucking talent, man, today is so great to see.
Well, what's the group that made the Mortal Kombat Legacy series?
Oh,
Machinima.
Machinima? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I thought they.
Do they still make anything?
No, I thought they closed down.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure they had people splinter off into separate projects and stuff like that. I assume. It's like when Freddie Wong was doing a Rocket Jump.
Oh
then
yeah.
a lot of
Shit,
it-
I
they-
forgot all about that.
And then some of them made Corridor. So Corridor still does a lot of stuff. I think they pissed people off recently with like this like rock paper scissors anime, and they're like, we're using new anime techniques. I'm like, nah, you're just kind of rotoscoping. It's cool.
oh, I saw that video. I believe.
Yeah, I mean it's
like filtered it.
Yeah, it's a I'm complete. It looks cool, man, but like not. Don't call it like anime. You're gonna upset all these fucking purists out there.
So when you're looking for artists on Instagram and social media, you got to read the fine print, because there's a lot of folks using AI art, and it's like you can't.
It's
sometimes
crazy.
it's cool, but it's like sometimes you get excited because you're like, oh, I like this style, but then you realize like, oh, this is not a real person, and I don't even know who this person is, and there's just a lot of clone accounts where people just have these massive followings. And it's really strange. I don't know how that works exactly. I mean, I know how the art's generated, but like they build these large followings.
Oh, you
and
just literally post it, and then people like it, and then they follow it because they see other art like it, but they don't, don't necessarily
right.
put, it's like TikTok, right? You see someone make like a troll account, a meme account, and that's all they do. And they're just like, how do you have like 500,000 followers? You just literally post the same shit every day.
Yeah.
You just get away with it sometimes, man.
And the problem with AI art is I don't think anybody truly owns it, but the server that stores it.
There's a big I think there's a big court case upcoming.
Well, because
about
there's no
AI.
copyright laws on it right
Yeah.
now.
And there's
it's
like,
weird. It's weird territory for sure.
oh
It
yeah,
is.
very fine line. So Phil, what's a outside of WoW, outside of MMOs, right?
Yeah.
Outside of fantasy games
Fantasy games
and
all
fighting
right.
games. What else are you
Nope.
playing?
Mordhau's technically fantasy though. No. Let's see. I went through a phase where I was just like downloading every roguelite there was. So I got all the achievements for Hades, like max
Hell
that game
yeah.
out.
That
I
game's
loved
awesome.
Hades. Probably one of the last ones or first ones really I ever put the time to perfect a game, because it was just so addicting. A game like solved some mental health problems I was having. Like the game was just so rewarding, it was so repetitive, and like you can tell you're getting better at something. It's the feedback was so good run after run. So
Yeah.
then I started. There's a small little game called Noita on Steam.
I know what
Little-
Noita is, yeah.
That game's amazing. Very hard. It'll make you cry. Dead Cells.
That sounds amazing.
Vampire Survivors is another fun one that I like.
Yeah.
we
Brad
did
and
a
then
whole
20
episode. We did a whole episode.
Brad got me
Okay.
hooked. Brad got me very hooked on Vampire Survivors. He's like, hey, it's $2. I was like, oh, it's on Game Pass too. So I
Dude,
played.
it's so fun. I think I'm gonna stream that game. I couldn't get it to stream last time. I couldn't get OBS to see it, and then 20 Minutes Till Dawn was another fun one.
That was really good.
And then I guess I played what else? I play a lot of Overwatch still with my brother and stuff. Like I still get on there, not competitive or anything, but play that game.
Nobody's here competitive on anything, man. You're good, except for Brad.
Okay,
Brad's actually
okay.
probably the best in terms of like competitive gaming. I've seen this man like.
I've
roam
always
through
loved
fucking
to.
lobbies.
I'd love to like grind out a game and like actually get like when Halo came out, the new one, the new free multiplayer. I played that one up to like Diamond, and then I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
But that was really fun.
It's fun until the sweats get in, right?
Yeah.
You have a good
Yeah.
time, and then you're like, why is it so sweaty? All of us. Did we play that? What was that one game we played? It was like a paranormal game where you like ghost hunting, like it's like prop hunt, and like the games were fun at first, and then people
Midnight
started
Ghost Hunt.
and then people
yeah.
started sweating in that game.
Yeah, it
Like,
got really
We're
bad.
like level 14. There's like level 99s. I'm like, dude, come on.
Played some
The game's-
Valorant recently. I mean, that because
I've
I
been
love
playing that.
Counter-Strike. I love Valorant. I mean, it's hard, but it's like, again, I love games that give you like that quick, rewarding feedback loop where it's like, okay, I can tell I'm getting a little bit better at this, a little
Yeah.
bit better. Because Overwatch is got a pretty low skill cap as far as like learning to play the game. You don't have to be that great to have fun in it. Valorant though, it's like no, you kind of need to know.
Yeah.
But it's it reminds me of the Counter-Strike days. So
my favorite thing is watching Jack play Valorant. I was trying to gift him on stream, and he was just learning, he's brand new, and he was in a lobby with a guy who I think was like a diamond, right? The guy was like a semi-pro player, and Jack's like, "I'm gonna get a kill," and I'm like, "If you get one kill, I'll gift you a sub for every kill you get." He got 2, so I gifted him 2, and then the next game he got like 6. I was like, "All right, man." He was like, "I did this on the wrong one." I was like, "Yeah, you did."
And then the last game that I have installed, I just got a new PC too. So I've been like, I only have 5 games installed right now, but Rocket League is another favorite of mine. I'm trying to get.
Nice.
I've never been like really good at it, but that game is so fun.
That's our jam.
The atmosphere of the game too, like the music. I love the music in
Yep.
the game. I love the crowd, the lighting. Like I don't know, that game is just charming somehow. I don't know what the
It's a
developer's
huge
secret
learning
is.
curve.
Yeah,
For sure. I have not broke that next tier of like how to actually like play the game, but some decent field awareness and like decent aiming can get you far. But as far as like nosing the ball into the goal, nah, it's not for me yet.
Yeah,
That's hard.
We had a whole episode about it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, nice. I'll check it out.
Essentially, we're gonna make Jack do like a gauntlet where I'm the final boss. He beats me, he gets 20 gift subs.
Yeah,
You will not beat me, Jack. I will not let you. I will not throw.
Like all of my friends are like grand champs or above, and then I'm over here.
Oh Lord,
in Silverland. So,
oh man,
No,
I was always way too busy to play games enough to get good at them. I'm trying to do more of that now, though. Now that I don't have the store, I'm trying to be a normal person for once and like play games, stream. Like pick a game that I can actually get good at again. And
I can only imagine how busy you were. Right? You had 3 locations. You said, right?
Yeah, I looked bad. If you go look at some old pictures, I was like unhealthy.
Brad showed us a picture. Brad,
No.
so Brad sent an article. I think it was like you were doing the interview like during COVID, and I saw how long your beard was. I was like, this not the same guy. Who is this dude?
I lost like 100 pounds after we closed the store. I like went on a diet and just kind of tried to get healthy and like because we were busy. I mean, we woke up, store, and then was at the store till close. And then the last couple of years, we finally had started hiring. We had about 8 employees when we closed, but it doesn't really change what you're still working all the time and going out.
And they all had to watch Office Space, right? We talked about this before. Yeah.
Those employees, I didn't make them do that. I made my bank employees do that. My last job, I was a branch manager at a credit union. Did like home equity lending and stuff, like adult stuff, and I was miserable. The employees made it bearable. Like they were good people, but like the job itself,
that's because they're miserable with you, right?
I can't do it anymore. Like I'm telling you, like these comics and games got to work because I can't go back to the bank job. Can't go back to the real world. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I mean, I appreciate people who can grind it out and have like a good career and like they fuel their passions. But I think I got brainwashed by having the store for all that time. And if I go back to a day job, I'm gonna have to really like I'm gonna get this English degree. Maybe I'll do something like in that field and not try to go. I've got 12 years in the banking world and it's a great career, but it's just not for me, man.
That's just how your brain is wired, right? I mean, I work in supply chain, right? So logistics. I fell into that. I was initially doing medical, and I was like, logistics is easy. I get paid pretty well to do it, and it helps me fuel like my hobbies and stuff. So,
that's the key. If you go to work every day though and you hate it, you just like if you're literally the character from Office Space, John Gibbons, you can't do it. You gotta stop.
So I'm not in the Navy anymore, right? Like I don't have to like work. I'm not putting my uniform on. I'm not like miserable sometimes. I'm like, when are we burning this place down, guys? Like why are you guys showing up to formation too early? Got to meet a psychopath like Brad and we started a podcast.
There you go.
It happens.
It does happen.
It was fate. It's destiny.
Oh God, I run from it. It all comes the same, bro. So Phil, is there anything you want to know about us? Is there anything you want to know about Jack? Mostly, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, I just kind of got tuned into you guys and I started following everybody. I mean, I didn't really get a great introduction for everybody. So why don't you guys tell me like kind of what your niche is or what you guys do within your,
I know Brad sent you a little thing about us, which is, which is bullshit. Yeah. Well, so I'm Ken. I live in California. Yes. I live in San Diego. Was a Navy brat, traveled around a lot. He said, what'd you say, Brad? I was a writer?
Writer. Yeah.
That's
I
good.
didn't want to. I didn't want to
So-
like explain your whole
So, I
career
mean,
field. So
I mean really my trade right now is I'm a contract administrator, so I write a lot of contracts and stuff. But no, I'll tell Brad something. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I actually used to write. I used to do a lot of short stories and stuff like that when I was younger. I actually wrote like I remember the worst writer's block I ever had. I wrote like 175 pages for a novel.
Nice.
And then I just completely were like, not doing this shit anymore. I mean, I'm very critical of the work I do. So like when I draw, if it's not good enough, I will like take the entire palette and just throw it aside. Same thing with painting. I'm like, nope, don't like that, and I will just launch that shit. Thank God I love digital art because I can just make all these different tune-ups and changes.
Oh yeah.
I was big into like fighting games growing up. Like I used to live in Japan as a kid.
Oh nice.
So I played a lot of Soul Calibur, a lot of
Yep.
Street Fighter. I'm really big into. I still do play some fighting games like Guilty Gear Strive. I think is my favorite right now. Some people like it. Some people like the changes to it. I don't. Got big into Rocket League when it came out in 2015. I gave that up for a year to play Rainbow Six Siege, which I liked, and I liked grinding Siege, and then Siege got really, really toxic really quick, and then Ubisoft obviously didn't know when to stop putting characters into the game. Stopped playing Siege, got back into Rocket League, and then playing whatever PC games, shit like that, and then eventually I talked to Brad. We were playing. Well, I can't remember what we were playing, Brad. It had to be like.
I don't even think we were playing anything. I because I think me and Chris would be playing something, and then he would hop off, and then me and you would just sit and just chat about video games for like.
It wasn't just video games. We were chatting about RPGs. I remember we were talking something about Final Fantasy, and we went like 3 hours. And then, because I remember your wife was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "He's like talking. All right, chill." And then I was like, I made a joke. I was like, "Hey man, we should start a podcast." And he was like, "Yeah, man, we should." And then like we just went like a couple weeks later, and I was like, "Hey man, like about that podcast thing." I was serious, and he was like, "Oh, well, look, here's what you need." And I was like, "I have some of this stuff already for work," so I got all this together, and then we did our first podcast episode, and it was like 2 hours of footage or 2 hours of recording, and it all got corrupted except for like 20 minutes.
Oh.
And this is literally me and Brad were like, we're not re-recording this shit. We'll just roll with it. So we posted 25 minutes on our first episode.
It was a teaser.
It was a teaser. And then I think around episode 7, we went to Jack as our first guest.
5.
Was it 5?
Yeah.
We went to Jack as our first guest. And then usually when we get people on the podcast, everyone says the same thing. Like, hey man, I had a really good time. If you want me back on, invite me. And I was like, Josh would be a good person to have on. Josh is, me and him, we're half Filipino, so we can talk shit to each other.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we got Jack back on. And then eventually we got Chibi Rabbit, Kristen. She's the other person. We had her like episode in the mid-20s. I remember we did an anime episode. And then we decided to do like a break off on our podcast. So like on YouTube now, they had like a podcast tab. And we have Pixelated Thoughts, and then we have Down the Rabbit Hole, which is like our leisure anime. And then we're here now. I do a lot of the video essays, right? Sometimes it's really scripted. I do write that out. I will put like 3,500 words into something.
Yep.
And then other times I'm just gonna talk over the gameplay. Just fucking let it ride.
Sure.
And then so Jack is pretty much our streamer, right? I would say Brad would stream if fucking Brad.
Hey! I streamed on Sunday.
Yeah,
I streamed on Sunday.
I got the notification. I was like, I'm busy with my kid, man. Right? Chill.
I felt bad actually because I saw that you streamed and I was still testing my stream out, and I kind of streamed at the same time as you. I was like, oh, I don't know if that's like taboo in the streaming world, but I'm learning the ropes.
No.
I'm learning the ropes.
No, not at all.
And then Jack, man, go tell us about yourself.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to go into deep history with me. My very first computer was a Commodore 64.
I had one.
Saying one of my favorite games was actually Little Computer People. I don't think that's what it's called, but it's like a house, 2D house, and you had this little character that you made go do things around the house, and
Wow.
The
like answer
Sims?
a phone call, almost like early Sim days, right? But it wasn't
Yeah.
called Sims. But it's I grew up with Nintendo consoles. And I've had maybe a PlayStation once. It was a PlayStation 2. And then at some point, I had a friend introduce me to Guild Wars 2. Play that over at his house a lot. And then another friend got me onto Rocket League. So I had a laptop that I was playing Rocket League and Guild Wars 2 on. And I was like, man, I think it's time. So we went to Micro Center and I had a set budget. That was a mistake. I should have never gone to Micro Center. I ended up leaving with a computer build or computer parts for a build that was 1,000 over my budget. I came home, built it, started playing Rocket League, and that was probably my primary game for about 5 years. And then I
Wow.
got into like Call of Duty, Battlefield, um, and then just when started, I picked up some new hobbies. I got into Gundam building.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Yeah, we sold those at the shop.
started collecting a lot of Funkos, doing some Legos. So my game room is all Deadpool and Mandalorian themed.
Nice.
So you can see some of the artwork behind me. Um,
Show the
and I
Deadpool
have
tattoo.
oh, it's not done yet. It's in its peeling process. Ow.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, that
So
looks
it's
great.
it's a little chibi Deadpool with the real life Deadpool holding the other end of the controller that the chibi Deadpool is trying to play with.
Nice.
Um, but so I started streaming. But I wanted it to mean something to me. And I had a couple friends that were doing streaming with a charity called Extra Life.
Mm-hmm.
So they had me join their Extra Life charity team, and from there, from September 2020 to today, I've been streaming for charity.
Wow, awesome.
I've been able to raise up to today probably almost
$1
$11,000,
billion.
uh,
Wow,
$12,000.
that's unreal.
Um, it's been super fun. It's everybody comes in. It's a huge and great community. Um, and I'll do variety games. I don't really focus on one single game. I'll do
He's one of those RPers.
I,
The
I've
RPs
done
in Grand Theft Auto.
I've done Grand Theft Auto RP. That was it's we actually me and Sneaky have talked about trying to get back into it because we were on a server that we had some characters in, and that server had shut down after about 6 months, and then I split off and went into another RP server with the same character. But I haven't done RP in probably shit. When's the last time I've done RP?
Oh, it was months ago, dude.
Yeah,
Right.
it
Yeah,
was.
it was quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I mean, that's
long time
That's a
ago.
commitment, man. You gotta have like
It
a
is.
full. It's like a full time job.
It is.
Oh,
What
yeah.
had happened was RP. So like I spent all my gaming time doing RP because the problem with RP, and not necessarily a problem, it really depends on how you look at it. But with RP, especially when it's like story based versus content, you have to kind of dedicate time on a regular basis to make sure that your story stays up with everybody else's story. And if you
Mm,
don't, then you have to have like a really good story to present why your character was not there, right?
interesting.
Yeah. Um so that was fun for a while. And now I'm doing
It's D&D with extra steps. Got it.
pretty much.
Essentially,
Hey, sounds great.
Yeah, it's D&D with visual cues, right? Um but yeah, it's now I just do like a variety of games, whether it's FPS, um horror games, puzzle, I mean everything you could think of. I'll take a stab at it. Right now I'm on a Destiny 2 grind.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but
I love Destiny 1. I have not played much Destiny 2.
2 is good, but it's the length of the campaigns are a little bit disappointing for the price point.
Uh,
you also have to.
But there's
pay
a lot
atten-
of content.
You also got to pay attention to the the quests and stuff like that. Am I right, Jack?
Yes. So, if you're gonna be teamed up, if you're gonna have somebody on your fire team and you're doing quests together, make sure that you talk to everybody just as the other person does. We went through an entire campaign, and at some point in that campaign, I didn't talk to somebody.
oh no.
So from that point on, none of it counted for me.
And he snapped on poor Brad. Well, I mean, Brad deserved it because he was being an asshole.
No, yeah.
This motherfucker. I had a moment of weakness, and this guy fucking took
See,
advantage of it.
That's the thing, Phil, right? So you're here, and Brad is like on his best behavior. But like Brad is
He's a
probably,
troll.
Yeah, he's the biggest troll we've ever
He's a
met.
troll.
I can tell Brad's got a little bit
like-
of a.
I
I can tell.
I like reactions. I like saying something unexpected or at least something borderline offensive.
Borderline.
And
Borderline.
and really just I like seeing that rouse. I like seeing that.
See, I'm from the old school. That's my biggest problem with like streaming and stuff like that. Is like I'm from, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s where everything's like super produced, well put together, polished. Like being candid and like messing things up or messing somebody up is like, you don't do that, right? Like you got to have everything ready. You got to have a perfect script when you go to stream your game.
Dude.
Everything has to work perfectly. I'm learning that if things go wrong, sometimes people they like that better than what you had planned,
Oh yeah,
It's so
especially this
funny.
guy. He so after that happened, he goes in the chat. He said, "This is boring." and I mean, there's people in there who don't know that I know him sometimes.
Yeah.
So man, I was like, if you don't fucking like it, fuck off, man.
That shit was so
I'm-
funny.
and
He
then-
was so
and then-
bad.
I've
Then
been
immediately-
pretty sheltered though. Like I haven't. The sad thing is like even though we had this nerd store and this nerd event, I didn't really get to participate in like online gaming culture since like I think maybe Halo 3 in 2007 was the last time I really played a lot online and like met people online and which that's not. I mean, WoW of course, but even I think by 07 or 08 that was even coming to a close. But
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so like that's my online experience kind of ended around that time when the store started going. So now I'm trying to like relearn how it works to like, oh yeah, people will add you online. You don't know who they are, but they're your new online friend, and that's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, don't worry.
It's
Just jump on. If you want to get that online experience, hop into like a Modern Warfare lobby. You get that get the juice.
You want
back.
that good
Oh.
online experience.
Talking
Keep
shit like the
open mic up.
talking
I
shit
remember
like the
when
Halo
Halo
3
2
days, baby.
I remember when I got Halo 2 and like some of the first Xbox Live games I played with people. I remember like people were connecting like, oh, I see your screen name's like Jixer 2000. Like, oh, you have a sport bike? Yeah, I do have a motor. And like people were so nice, and it only took like maybe a couple months, and the culture was dead. But
It took Modern Warfare. It took Call of Duty.
yeah.
Gamers have become super toxic. Like I don't even turn on public chat anymore.
Oh, it's so easy too, man. I mean, in Rocket League, I'm not the toxic one, right? I've turned off all chat because I don't want to talk shit to people.
But they
like-
give you those quick actions to say things. and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
I turn off those
nice
too.
shot, nice shot. I mean,
but-
like
but
it's hard
Brad-
to not.
yeah.
You get sucked into that world of talking
like
trash.
normally like I'm skipping
Great pass.
replays.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a great play, you skip a replay. Brad does not, because Brad will talk shit to people, and I'm like, "What
No,
are you saying to them, Brad?"
I'm studying, man. I'm studying. What made the play great. I'm trying to analyze and
and
get better at
they're
the
like,
game.
"Skip," and
Exactly.
he's like, "No." I'm like, "Dude, you got."
I'm like, wow, nice block.
I
Wow,
know.
nice block.
The art of trolling with
It's
Brad.
yeah.
My
I feel like
God.
It's
that's
stupid.
I
It's
think-
stupid how it's stupid how triggering the quick chats are.
Yes, that I was gonna say it's like a meta game. You're trying to put the other person on tilt so you get the advantage. It's like
Well,
great
I
pass,
think-
great pass, great pass. You're scoring while you're still talking. It's like it's a meta game. It's a sub game. It's
A,
brilliant.
what a save.
What a save
What a
is the
save.
number
What a
one.
save.
Close
what a
one.
Number
save.
one.
Well, so I love the way Overwatch does it, because if you put GGEZ in
Oh.
chat, it gives
Oh,
some
yeah.
random quip. It's like,
Positive quote.
yeah, it's like my mom didn't love me enough as a child, or good game, guys, had fun, or
I've
whatever.
had
So
pretty
it's
good luck on Overwatch. No one's been too mean yet
Yeah.
to me. Like I don't
so
know.
so that's what I spam. I spam GGEZ just to give the positive quotes, but they know, like
I
they
didn't
know
know
that I'm saying.
Oh.
So they know I'm
He's
saying
playing the
something.
long game. He's like, I'm in your head, fucker. I mean, in Rocket League, I don't think people don't really get toxic until like platinum, and then once you get platinum rank, everyone's but dude, I'm like champ
Wait
2,
till-
champ 3 most of the time.
Yeah, wait till
And-
when you get in a champ.
When
and
you get to
grant-
we at like when I play at C3, we are easily the most tilted toxic people because we're like one away from GC. And I remember I played a game. I was Div 4 champ 3, and I was like 2 games away from qualifying for grand champ. And like my teammate was like the single most toxic person. Like, and it was mostly like to himself. Like he would blow something. He's like, "Fucking bullshit. He like want to save himself. I'm like, dude, we're on the same team, bro. Like we're trying to win the game. Like you need to relax. And
I
they're
made
just
my
petty.
wife uninstall League of Legends for being like that. So
Oh
never,
man,
never played League of Legends,
bro, I
Never
tried
got
it
into
once.
MOBAs.
I played it once. I played it my first day, the very first fucking game. I mean, I don't know if people understand if like, do they see when you're new? I mean, they can see it in the gameplay.
They don't care, bro.
no,
Okay.
they don't.
So,
they don't care.
anyways, I played one fucking game, and then that one game like ruined it for me. Like they all came down on me and ran that mouth, and I was like, all right, uninstall. I'm not playing this game ever again.
Rough.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Force.
Yeah, no. What do you got? What do you got, Phil?
Oh no, I'm good.
You got nothing? What?
I was gonna say, well, we forced people to play League of Legends. Like we had LAN parties for League,
Oh,
and it was funny because like, people have to adjust their online persona with their like local LAN.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. Like
Yeah.
20 people in a room and like starting to get mad, and you're like, hey, he's right over there, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? So, anyways.
Go ahead. I mean, that's how it was like with fighting games, right? When you're playing like
Oh
fucking-
god.
I would never. I mean, I couldn't talk shit like when I was in Japan about Soul Calibur. Everyone's like really respectful, so people would like shake each other's hands during tournaments, stuff like that.
Did you go to the arcades and get to play
all
on the
time.
cabs? Oh man,
Every
that's
time,
like the dream.
when I was in Japan, when so on base on Yokosuka, they had they had a local arcade, and I had a friend of mine, Christian, and we would play Tekken Tag, and Soul Calibur all the time. And we were good enough to be in tournaments and win a ton of tournaments in like the local area and then Yokohama and stuff. So when you went into these tournaments, like you were usually like as respectful as possible. That's how it is, right?
Yeah.
Culture is pretty nice, but like here, like when I came stateside, like 2003, 2004, I went to like I played in like a local tournament in Oceanside, and I beat the shit out of like a group of people, and I was like, I just want to fucking know what it's like to just talk a little shit. I was like, is that the best you had? Like, is this the best? Is that it? Is that all? Because every people, most people size you up when you were going to like an arcade cabinet. They like look at you, like some people. Like I had a guy, and this happened all the time. Like on base, like he just like put his coin like right in the spot, and he would just sit there, and he'd like sit over me. And I was like, and I'd literally like move his coin to the front. I'm like, you're next. Like you're next one up. Come sit down.
Isn't that part of the FGC now though? It's like, I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna butcher it. It's like something like popping off or something, like after a match, like people are known for the way they talk trash or something like that.
There's some really amazing players in like the FGC. Like some like I used to tell people like Rocket. I think that's why I like Rocket League so much, is because it's like fighting games. There's a lot of like effort, personal effort that goes into it.
Right.
You trying to learn an individual's kit, counters, all that type of stuff. And then same thing with Rocket League. Like it's all about your individual progress, and then afterwards, can you apply it on the field and do all the other stuff? But yeah. Oh, that like some people won't talk shit, but there's like some FGC players I've watched who are like, they are just hard staring at people. You're like sitting right next to them and like jumping up. I was like, yeah, that's what I grew up on too. Fuck that guy. Tell him what it's about. I can only imagine how bad it would be if like
we hosted a lot of fighting game tournaments, so we got to
no.
see it all firsthand. It was a good time.
Yeah, I used to love that type of stuff. Street Fighter 3 tournaments were usually like super competitive. Street Fighter 4, I think like I don't know how many people really like that game. I only think they don't like it because of the art style.
Yeah, it entrenched, like we had like a Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo community like pop up when that game came out, because people were trying to just be hipsters and not play it,
Oh God.
But so they wanted to play Street Fighter 2 Turbo instead of that game. But and we had a pretty good little local MVC2 scene too for a little while, believe it or not, for Alabama. It was okay.
Oh, that'd have been weird.
So we got to do all the. It was fun. We had our last fighting game tournament had almost 80 players. Nice. At Fanaticon, and it was a Tekken World Tour stop or something for their esports little points ranking thing.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
And then we did Dragon Ball Fighter Z was a big one for them, and then I forget what the other one was. Maybe Mortal Kombat. But Smash was always big too. Smash Brothers always huge.
I mean, like Smash Brothers, like Nintendo pretty much pulled all the I think Smash out of the FGC too. Like there's no like they have to. I think Nintendo has to sanction the tournament, and they're not. That's why they're not at Evo anymore.
Oh, that's
Nintendo's like, I think I don't know what it was. I think Sony, because Sony now owns Evo, and I think Nintendo was just like, nah, we're not doing that shit anymore.
Interesting.
But I think like what you did was important, because like any type of LAN experience in a fighting game is really important to kind of get your nerves down, stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
back then we didn't really have like good internet connection. It was like we got the cabinet playing. So like if you have like any type of like LAN experience now, that really helps you when you're playing in front of a crowd, especially because it's like round robin until you get to like the last, I'll say 8, and then it's like now we're forcing like people up by themselves, to 1-on-1.
Right.
Yeah, in front of a crowd, that shit gets stressful. I think my favorite thing is like watching people leave after you beat them, right? And they don't stay to watch the next fight. They just like
Oh,
go
man.
home, and I'm like, where you going? Like, come watch me beat this next guy. Let's get this going, dude.
When Street Fighter 4 Ultra came out, I got 3rd place. I was a T-Hawk player. I got 3rd place at the tournament at GameStop, and I never got to run my bracket back. I got 3rd place with 1 loss. I never got to
Really?
play. It's funny too because the TO came up to me like a year later and was like, "We never ran the bracket. I'm so sorry." Like I didn't notice either. I was kind of a noob at the time, so it was good times though. Good time.
T-Hawk.
Then I started playing Hugo.
You play? Oh, you're a grappler.
I like grab. Love them.
You're one of those Zangief player.
I'll show you my fight stick here. It's
Yeah, let's go.
custom art.
That's a real.
you can't see.
It's a real FGC player.
Got the old Fanatix logo there. Printed that out at
Nice.
Office Depot.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
How much was your fight stick? Like,
Oh, that's the Razor one. I don't even remember. I think I traded some guy for it.
yeah, there were a couple $100s, man.
I like. There's a company. Oh, it's like it's called the Dragon or something. It's like $300. It looks beautiful. Kanban. I can't remember. 8ARC. 8ARC is the company, maybe.
I think mine's like 150. My fight stick. I have it downstairs. Yeah, I can't wait for Street Fighter 6. I'm so excited for that game.
Are you saying you're a pad player, Brett? Is that what you play with a controller like a filthy casual?
It is a Minecraft creeper Xbox controller that I have worn the thumbsticks off down to the hard plastic, and I like this controller so much I went and bought thumbstick extenders and glued them on because I put them on and they were too loose. They would just like spin, without doing anything. So I actually used wood glue. Just because that controller is amazing. I bought a new controller, but the buttons are so clicky on it, and I really don't like the clicky.
Man. I like that noise when I'm playing fighting games. Like when you're playing on your stick, I like hearing the clacking.
Therapeutic.
I play pad. I'll only play pad for Guilty Gear Strive, and I don't know why. Like I'm so much better on pad than I am with like my actual fight stick. Have you played Strive at all? Guilty Gear.
The last Guilty Gear. Which one do I have? I don't have Steam open. But I played the old school ones. Was it Reload? Guilty Gear Reload on Xbox, maybe?
The Xrd games. Yeah, those are...
King of Fighter 2003 maybe was the last King of... No, 99?
Never really got
I don't know.
King of Fighters. Was never like a big fan of them. I don't know why. I played Fatal
I
Fury.
love the company that makes... what is it?
Arxis Works.
Yes,
they're amazing.
And the music is so good. I'm a big fan of the music from that.
Yeah, you'd like Guilty Gear Strive. It's very... I would say it's more like the original Guilty Gears were very like what's the word for it? It's when you juggle. It's more Gatling, like you can you can have tap and stuff like that. It Strive's a bit more structure, but you can still Gatling still. You should watch some of the Evo tournaments for like Strive. Some of the kits they're pulling out are just like the most insane things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've got XRD Rev 2. Yeah. Was the last one I bought.
That's the one
I need to update it.
That's the one that just got rollback netcode. So now, like, that's why people were so excited for it, because that game's fucking broken too. My God, they like fighting game. I always love the fighting game community because like anytime a patch comes out, people get so bitter about stuff. Like, how did we balance it? We didn't. They flip a table or some shit, man.
Players will know. Players will find all the dirty secrets.
Oh, it's so bad. I think Dragon Ball Fighters. That's a game I think tag games you have to play like. You can't play on a pad. You have to have a stick.
Right.
It's just man, some of the inputs are insane. Jack, you played some fighting games before, right?
Yeah, I'm a button masher though.
Oh, that's
so there's no technique. I just if it makes sense to just hit whatever button I want to.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I got older, when I got more into like tournaments and stuff like that, I just remember how like easy it was in Street Fighter 3 to punish people who button mashed out of the corner. I was like, good lord, man. It's brutal, dude. I was like, this is not fun for certain people. There's like a certain level, I think, after a while that you have to get competent in the game. That's just like
Oh,
Rocket
yeah.
League. It becomes work. As Brad said
Yep.
in the episode, it's work now. Goodness. All right. So, Phil, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it,
This
man.
is fun.
Yeah, this was
Yeah, anytime.
This is a lot of fun. See, I was right. We were right, Brad. Every time we bring somebody on, they're like, "It's a good time," right?
Means we did our job.
Yeah, we don't need to do closing thoughts. We did all that shit, except for Phil. Phil, do you have anything you want to close out on? Anything you want to say at all before Brad cuts you off?
I mean, you guys can follow us at Fanatix Publishing if you
Right.
want to, and then at Hierophant Game if you want to check that out. Still light on the content, so we're ramping things up, but Fanatix Publishing or Hierophant Game, and you can find us online, and hopefully we'll be rolling out more content soon.
Yeah, do me a favor. Send the links to all your socials and stuff, and I'll pin it in the YouTube channel.
Thank you.
And
Okay,
then,
we'll do.
Yeah. So we add you to the socials. I think that's who should do the exit? Let's see. Who's doing the outro? Nah, Brad, you should do the outro. There we go. And this time, Brad, be funny. All right. I don't want any of this like random
Yeah,
shit where
last
you're saying-
time was
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
what the
tried to be
fuck?
professional. I tried to be professional and do it properly. My bad. All right. Well, I guess that's it. That's just the end of the podcast. Yeah, we're done. It's over.
There we go.
Hey, thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it.
Bye.